don't even know if I need to introduce you. Here with Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire, former cover boy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. Coach, I wanted to ask you first off, what was scarier, giving your daughter away or climbing that crane?
Oh, that's easy, giving my daughter away. That crane was a lot of fun.
You're insane. You're an insane person.
220 feet. I did ask them. They wouldn't let me. I said, hey, could we figure out how I could bungee off of this? And they were like, no, Coach, we're not doing that. So giving my daughter away, that was an emotional weekend, but it was really a lot of fun. We had a blast, and Joe and his family. It was really cool because you're talking about a dude from Long Island, New York. So all these New Yorkers, full-blown Italian, come down. And this is how it starts. This is no lie. I meet his groomsmen, and it goes, I'm Vinny. I'm Tony, I'm Anthony, I'm Dom. And I said, well, I'm Joey. And they go, oh, we got a Joey. So this is how it started. It was so good.
That's a brave guy to date a coach's daughter. I'd imagine that's a guy who's got some guts.
Well, he's in construction, and he's Joe Tocco from Long Island, so could be in the mob. No, he has been incredible. And Reagan, she's an artist. She's kind of different and quirky and funny, and man, he just lets her be the best. That's what I love about him. He allows her to be her, and he just laughs at her. And so that was really cool. That's where he won me over, was allowing Reagan to be Reagan. And that's when I knew they were supposed to get married.
Speaking of your other kid, Garrett's over in Nebraska. I saw you posting some photos out there. I was talking to your better half. They said y'all were out there visiting him. What's it like to have a son in the profession? You knew he was going to go into the profession, but being at a place like Nebraska, working for a man like Coach Rule that you respect so much, what has that been like?
It's been awesome. I mean, we talk every day. Well, I'll say that. There were 2 weeks that he was really upset with me. We've battled head-to-head on some recruits, and I don't know. I mean, it was a tough 2 weeks because I don't know who he got mad at, and I kind of backed off a little bit and kind of let him work through it. But I love watching what they're doing. I believe so much in what they're doing. I mean, his whole staff will be at coaching school next week, and so the respect that they have for this state and really how they're recruiting the state's pretty impressive. But he's just growing, and that's the one thing I asked him when I got the Tech job. I said, hey, would you want to come work with me? And he said, at some point I do, but this was whenever he was in Carolina. He said, Dad, when I'm in Carolina, I'm Coach McGuire. When I'm in Lubbock, I'm your son. And when I come work for you, I want to be Coach McGuire. And that was pretty dang mature for a guy to feel that way, and I totally got it. And, man, there's no better guy to work for that's going to pour into him, and so I'm excited he's with Matt.
We had Jalen Hutchings and Tony Bradford over here earlier today. They were arguing about who is liked more by you.
Oh, my God.
Would you like to settle this debate once and for all?
No, I love both of them the same. And you know what's funny is they probably were arguing who loves them more, my wife or as far as literally those two guys. So I got a quick story about the D-line. So every Thursday we have a position group over at our house, and most of them will come out and sit on the back porch and do something with me, or we have a game room, so they'll go upstairs to the game room. I'll go up there, and so I'm sitting there waiting for all the D-line to come out, and they're all inside. So I stick my head in there and I said, hey, Boog, are you going to come out and eat with me? And he goes, no, aren't you going to come in and eat with Miss Debbie? And so, I'm telling you, the D-line, they're the first ones after the game when she's on the field. We've won a big game. They're, hugging her and congratulating her. They have a really good relationship. So it's funny, if you would have asked them who Miss Debbie liked better, that would have been a real argument.
There we got a fight.
You would have been in trouble.
How important is having a supportive partner like Debbie to be successful as a college coach, just with the recruiting and the hosting and all the stuff that wives have to do in this profession?
I mean, it's huge. One thing that we've done is she does something every single month, once a month, with the entire staff of wives, girlfriends, fiancés. They've rented out movie theaters, or they'll go eat dinner at different places. This is a tough profession. You're gone a lot. And so we wanted to make sure that everybody felt, and this is just not the coaches. This is the training staff, their wife, the equipment staff, their wives, the strength staff, their wives. If you are a part of Texas Tech football, they do other stuff together, maybe in little parts, but they're all going to do something together. And it's just trying to develop those friendships, that they have. That these wives sometimes don't feel like they're alone, that they have people that they can count on. And, man, she's amazing. I have not had a coach or equipment or anybody not come up and go, man, we cannot thank you enough for Debbie and the way she treats our wives, and it's a big part of it, that we are a family, and that creates that culture.
I know the pasta bar is important to you. You got the Sunday bar after. What's new? Is there anything new for Texas Tech on the horizon pregame, or are you just keeping with what's going?
No, we're going to keep with what's going. I mean, we are going to go out a day early for Wyoming. We're going to do our Fast Friday in the altitude, to kind of get used to it. We're going to do the same thing against BYU. Two really, really important games. But, we're creatures of habit of how we're going to do things and what we're doing. And so we're going to eat the same way.
For those who don't know, Joey McGuire eats the exact same thing the night before a game. Can you walk us through the pasta bar order for yourself?
Yeah. So I'm going to get some bell peppers. I'm going to get some garlic. If they have, which most of the times they do, just because Hannah takes care of me, I'll get some fresh jalapeno peppers that are cut up. Then I'm going to get some kind of chicken. I'm going to get the bow tie. Bow tie and the Alfredo sauce. And that's my go-to every Friday night.
Speaking of every Friday night before a game, Oregon's coming in week 2. I know you got a game before that, but how excited are you to see Jones at night, a big game, probably like Fox News there or something like that? Like what is that game going to represent for Texas Tech?
It's great. They're as good as anybody we have on our schedule. Their coaching staff is elite. They've done a great job of recruiting. And so it's a big – when you're sitting there and you're talking about week 2, some of the big games, and there are some really big games in the Big 12. You got Texas, Alabama that week. You've got Baylor, Utah that week. You have us in Oregon. So some really, really good games that week. It's going to be a measuring stick of, like, where we're at. They're a team that, has been in the top 10, top 15 year in and year out. And so we're going to get to find out. I'm glad whenever it came out we were playing them at night. There's always good things that happen in Lubbock at night. And so I'm excited about that game.
Going this time last year, I think you had a good idea of what your team was, but you can't know it, right, until you see it on the field. How much more do you know about your team and the program right now than maybe you did media days last year?
A lot, just because we're in year 2. It's one of those deals that they know me. They've been asking a lot about camp, and the one reason they've been asking a lot about camp is we have like a mini camp that's a really grind. Got that from Matt Rule. And so they're asking, hey, are you changing anything up? And so it's really interesting because they know what's coming up. They know, that's the one thing. We're going to modify and adjust, but we are still creatures of habit, especially when things work. You try to replicate it. And so I feel like I have a good feeling for this team. We feel we've got a great chance to be a good football team. We just got to stay healthy, and we do have to handle we got to be able to handle both. Some failures throughout games or even a week, and then we got to be able to handle success. There was a time last year that we didn't handle a success, and it rolled into 2 losses, back-to-back losses, and so I think a more mature team understands that we got to be able to handle those and separate each week.
Speaking of handling stuff, expectations are a lot higher this year, right? You picked 4th in the conference ahead of a team that played for a national championship. How do you get them to be okay with kind of being, maybe the hunted rather than the hunter at times this year in a way that maybe y'all weren't last year?
I think a lot of that is early preseason before you get hit in the mouth in a game. And we have such a tough schedule, and so we're going to find out early. Wyoming, their brand of football is very physical, and he does a phenomenal job. And so I think a lot of that is going to take care of itself. But my job is to be able to handle those. I want it. I'd rather be on that end than the other end. to where people don't expect a lot from you. I know you can always surprise people, or you think you can, but I don't necessarily think that there's a lot of surprises week in and week out whenever you're a good football team. And so that's part of my job and the coaching staff job, is to be able to handle the expectation. We are an older team. We have some very strong voices in that locker room. And so I think, and some of them are here, they're going to be able to help me.
Coaching school next week.
Yeah,
I know that's a favorite of yours. Last question before we get out of here. Am I invited to the party?
Yeah, come on, man.
Okay.
It's 6 to 8, Little Woodrow's.
All right, I'll be there. All right, later. Thanks, Coach.